you're having a great day. Hope you're having a great week. Hope you're having a great life, month, whatever you need to fill in the blank there, right? I just hope things are going well for you. So, this morning I was thinking about several different things, and I started thinking because I'm very quick to condemn myself, and I think a lot of people are that way. We look at someone else and say, "Oh, they've got faith," or "Man, they've got hope," or "They've got peace," or "They've got this or that." And when we look at ourselves, we think, "Oh, I don't have any faith. Oh, you just don't believe anything. Oh, you just don't have any hope. It's just so hard to believe. It's just hard this." And because why? Because it's on our plate, right? We can look at somebody else's plate and go, "Man, they just have it all together." Look at our own plate and our own selves, and we're like, "I don't have it all together." Why? Well, our emotions are mixed into that, right? I look at your plate. I may be emotional, but I'm not invested emotionally, right? And it does. I don't feel it as much. I can still feel emotion on your behalf, but it's not my feelings, right? It's not my emotions about my stuff, and we get our emotions all mixed up into our stuff, and then we're really quick to condemn ourselves and to tell ourselves we don't have faith, or we don't have hope, or we don't believe God, or we don't have peace, you know. And so I just want to refute that a little bit, and I think I titled this, "It's not zero." It's not zero. And if you have a little bit of hope, it's not zero, right? If you have a little bit of faith, it's not zero. So in Romans 12:6 it says this. Now this is a scripture that goes along. It's going to be parallel in its implementation to John 14:27, because in Romans 12:6 it says this. Let's see, is it 6? No, I'm sorry, it's Romans 12:3. It says that God has dealt to each one a measure of faith. Well, actually, it backs up. He says, I say through the faith, through the grace given to me," this is Paul in Romans, "to everyone who's among you, not to think of himself more highly than he ought to think, but to think soberly, as God has dealt to each one a measure of faith." To each one, to everyone. Every person was given a measure of faith. And, there's a lot of people like to take that and build doctrines out of it, and some I've heard it said, and I tend to agree with the statement that he gave us enough faith. He had to give us faith to get saved on, right? He gave us enough faith to get to him. He gave us enough faith to be able to effectively reach out to him and desire him and to get to him, right? He gave us faith. Well, and I say this is parallel to John 14:27, because in John 14:27 Jesus tells the disciples, and we are the children of Abraham, the seed of Abraham, so we can claim it too, that he gives us. "I'm leaving my peace here with my disciples. I'm leaving my peace here with my people, with my children, with my followers, with us." He left his peace here for us, right? And so we just have to accept it and walk it out, right? Well, this is kind of the same thing as far as implementing it. He gave us a measure of faith. We just have to accept it and walk it out. Now, maybe you're sitting there thinking, "Well, I don't know. I don't really have faith like other people. I mean, I don't, I never really seen anything." Maybe you got all these little thoughts running through your head, but let me propose this. The fact that you're still looking for God shows that you have some hope. It shows that you have some faith. Even if you feel like you haven't seen a mountain move, you haven't seen a huge miracle, you haven't seen God move in the way you wanted to see him move, that doesn't mean you don't have faith. Okay? So when you have faith, he's given you a measure of faith. He's given you his peace. You just have to acknowledge it, take it, and act on it. We have to let that peace reign. We have to let that faith reign. But the fact that you're watching this devotion, you're seeking for him, would be a huge indicator that you've got some faith there somewhere, that you've got some hope in there somewhere, right? All hope is not lost. You're still breathing, and if you're breathing, there's hope. Faith isn't gone. Faith doesn't move away. Now, you can build your faith. You can exercise that faith muscle, and some of that kind of faith comes by hearing the word, right, and receiving and oops, I gleeked, receiving the word and acting on that word. It takes faith to go, "Okay, Jesus gave me his peace, so I'm going to let it reign in my heart." That took an act of faith. You had to trust that he really put that peace out there for you, right? And you had to reach for it. You use that faith to say, "He gave me peace. I'm grabbing it, baby." That's faith. right? Faith isn't as complicated as we make it. It's just simply believing God for what He said. It takes faith. It says by faith we believe that God formed and created the earth. That's in Hebrews. By faith, that's faith. And if you believe that, you've got faith. How much faith? I don't know. How do you quantify it? I don't know. How do you put an amount on it? How do you measure it? I don't know. I don't have the answer to that question. Why did you ask it? I don't know. I have these conversations with myself a lot. So I can't necessarily put it on there, but it says that God gave us all a measure of faith. And then it's up to us to grow in that faith, to get in the word, to nurture that faith, to same thing with the peace. He gave us peace. We just have to let it rain. And sometimes that takes faith. It takes faith going, okay, I don't feel peace. I don't see peace. I'm not experiencing it at all, but I'm just going to trust faith that God gave me that peace and I can still let it rain in my heart no matter what's going on in my world, no matter what's going on in this crazy mind, no matter what's going on in my circumstances or situations. I can still just trust God for His peace. I can trust God for hope in any situation. I can trust God that He's just going to be with me forever, right? All those things, we minimize those things. But just knowing that God is out there took faith. It takes faith. You can't see Him. You can't. I learned this term in Bible college, empirically, empirical. I love that word. And empirical just means it's determined by the five senses. So you can't empirically prove the existence of God. You can't say, here's God, feel Him, touch Him, see Him, right? But there is non-empirical evidence of His existence. You're one of that. You're part of that, right? You're here. That proves to me that God exists. The earth is here. I just cannot see two. As a matter of fact, I was thinking about this yesterday morning. I was just thinking about how fascinating the body is and how it all works together, from the consuming food and digesting it and using it for energy and getting rid of what, we don't want to talk about that part, but getting rid of what it doesn't use, the waste part, and just how the heart pumps the blood. And how could you ever think, I can't figure out how anybody could think that two cells bumped into each other and just created such an intricately designed system that functions perfectly over and over and over again. And for that matter, where did the two cells come from, right? From nothing? No, scientists have yet to produce something from nothing. And yet we know that God, with the word of His mouth, created this. That takes faith because you didn't see it happen, right? If you see something happen, it doesn't really take faith, right? But when you didn't see God create things, that's faith when you believe He did. Right? So faith is not as complicated as we've made it. The faith movement had its part in church history, but man, did it mess some people up, because now everybody was believing for a new house and believing for a new car. And it's not that God doesn't help you get those things, and maybe He gives you those things. I'm not saying He doesn't. It says He made Abraham rich, right? Job was rich. It's not wrong to have those things, but the faith movement got its eyes off of faith and believing God and onto what you could get and manipulate circumstances to get, right? And so that wasn't faith. But faith is looking out there and going, you know what? I don't feel peace right now, but I know He gave it to me, so I'm going to figure out how to let it rain in my heart. That's faith. Faith is, I know God's with me even when everything looks yucky, when everything looks difficult, when everything feels like it's falling apart. I know that God still is with me. Faith is saying, you know what? I know that God can't leave me. He won't abandon me. Faith is saying, I know He loves me even when I feel unlovable. I know He accepts me even when I feel unacceptable and cast away or forgotten. Faith is believing what this Bible says, no matter what you see with your eyes, no matter what you feel with your emotions, no matter what you sense in the natural. It's believing what this word right here says about us. That's faith. That's faith. And then you grow that faith by staying in the word, by putting it in your heart, by pursuing his word and time in His presence and talking to God, just as like building any relationship. A relationship is only built through, you can't just have an instant relationship. not a fruitful one. A true relationship takes time. It takes conversations. It takes questions. Sometimes it takes arguments. to, "Oh, I didn't know that's what you meant. Wait a minute, is that really what you meant?" Right? And it's okay to ask God that question. What did you mean by that, God? Because I'm not getting it. There's a disconnect here. I don't know what to do with. Right? Relationship takes time. Faith takes time. But you have faith just like you have peace. And the fact that you're watching this video right now proves that you're still seeking. You're still looking. You're still reaching. That shows that you've got faith and you've got hope, and that peace is right there. All you got to do is let it rain, right? Peace out, you guys. Have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow.